Bullies embarrass the new girl with a shocking prank. Her roundhouse kick leaves all speechless. Mia felt like a ghost in the crowded hallway of Maplewood High, an unseen whisper floating among boisterous laughter and cliques forged in years of friendship. Her heart raced, a rhythmic thump in her chest as she clutched her books to her chest, a flimsy shield against the world around her. Everything about this place was daunting. The bright lockers lined up like sentinels, the buzz of gossip hovering in the air, the colourful posters advertising the dance that everyone seemed to anticipate. Everyone except her. Dark clouds gathered over her thoughts when she finally met a group huddled together in a corner. They were the kings and queens of this jungle. And like predators, they spotted her immediately. "Look! It's the new girl!" one of them sneered, an icy grin spreading across her face. Mia felt her cheeks flush, the heat betraying her as her throat tightened. She was a target, vulnerable, exposed. As days passed, the laughter only grew louder. Who did she think she was? They tormented her with taunts, the same lines rehearsed over and over. "Mia, is that your real hair? Or did you lose a fight with your mum's hairdryer?" She felt like a piece of discarded paper, crumpled and tossed aside. Her nerves danced like fireflies in her belly, each time she walked past them. And then came the dance. The glitzy, glittery event everyone else was buzzing about. Mia had carefully picked out her dress, soft lavender, a colour that made her feel like maybe she could fit in, just a little. But the evening took a swift turn when her tormentors wheeled in their grand plan, a prank that would make her the punchline of the night. A rush of laughter filled the air as they unleashed their chaos. The music blared, and just when Mia thought she could blend in, they tripped her, sending her sprawling onto the dance floor. A collective gasp echoed around her. Then the laughter erupted like fireworks. Tears stung her eyes. They were all watching, waiting. But then something stirred within her. A wild energy surged through Mia, igniting every fibre of her being. And in a split-second decision, she executed a roundhouse kick, a move she'd perfected in secret during lonely nights in her bedroom. The sound sliced through the mocking laughter like lightning. As everyone fell silent, jaws dropping in disbelief, Mia stood tall, her heart hammering. The moment hung there, electric and heavy. Faces went pale, surprise etched in every expression. The sudden quiet was deafening. No one had seen that coming. In that heartbeat of stillness, Mia knew she had broken loose. Her past, years of martial arts training, hidden under layers of insecurity, had collided with her present. She would no longer be the invisible girl. But in that instant, doubt filled the air. Would they admire her newfound strength or fuel deeper rivalries? As she stood poised, the crowd around her began to murmur, expressions shifting from shock to admiration. Or was it envy? Questions bubbled beneath the surface. Mia knew she had opened a door, one that could either lead to acceptance or deeper loneliness. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Just do a quick check on that red button down below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any of the exclusive content coming your way. And since you're here, smash that like button. It helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person in this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Mia stood in that silence, the surprise from her kick still hanging in the air. She felt a rush, a newfound strength pulsing through her veins. But that high didn't last long. The hushed crowd was still staring, but not at her. They were looking past her, eyes wide, mouths hanging open. Something was happening behind her. A flicker of movement, a shadow darting toward the dance floor. A scream pierced the air, sharp and chilling. A girl in a sparkly silver dress was on the ground, clutching her ankle, tears spilling down her cheeks. Mia's heart dropped. It was Lexi, the queen of the jungle, the very one who had tripped her. Panic spread like wildfire. What happened? Mia barely whispered. The crowd surged forward, a surge of bodies pushing against her as they rushed to Lexi. The laughter from earlier evaporated, replaced by gasps and murmurs, full of worry. The atmosphere shifted instantly. The game was over. Mia moved to the edge of the circle, nearly tripping over a few feet in her shock. "Someone call an ambulance!" someone shouted. The urgency cranked up the tension even more. The icy dread settled in Mia's stomach, the kind that freezes you to the bone. She was just about to step forward when a familiar face caught her eye. It was Jamie, the boy she recognized from her English class. He knelt beside Lexi, his hands shaking as he checked on her. Mia had seen him joking around, laughing at the same cruel jokes. Now, he looked terrified. "Lexi, can you hear me? Just breathe." Mia's confusion deepened. Jamie, the boy she thought was an enemy, was now a hero in the chaos. But as she looked closer, something strange climbed into her throat. Jamie lightly gripped Lexi's hand, and for a split second, their eyes locked. Lexi squeezed his hand back, a moment of connection that felt electric. Beneath the surface of chaos, inside those sorrowful eyes, lay something Mia never expected. A history, a bond. "What's going on?" Mia's voice trembled, but no one answered her. They all continued to crowd around, focusing on Lexi's pain, giving her strength. Mia didn't feel like she belonged there anymore. A stranger in a familiar land, turning more foreign by the minute. Just then, Lexi's face twisted in agony, and she screamed. "It hurts! Someone did this!" A sharp gasp rippled through the crowd. Fingers began pointing, accusing. Mia's heart raced. Whispers broke out like a raging storm. "Did you see? She fell when that girl kicked her." Mia felt the weight of the spotlight shifting back onto her. The world around her spun, and as the accusations piled up, panic squeezed tighter. Could they think she'd intended to hurt Lexi? Would they think the kick she had delivered in defense, something that had felt so powerful at the moment, was suddenly a weapon used for cruelty? "Wait, no, that wasn't my—" But everyone was drowning out her words. Jamie's eyes were no longer filled with fear, but with something else. Betrayal? Anger? He glanced her way, and Mia's heart sank. Murmurs morphed into shouts. The crowd started to divide into factions, half rallying to Lexi and half questioning Mia's intentions. Emotions twisted in the air, confusion merging with their panic. And then Lexi, through gritted teeth, whispered the words that would change everything. "You think it's an accident? You think she didn't mean it?" Mia's heart clenched. She was trapped in the middle of this storm, caught in the tide of uncertainty. She didn't know what would happen next, but she felt it deep down. A chasm opening beneath her. Would she finally break free? Or was this just the beginning of a fight that would push her back deeper into the shadows? The crowd thickened. Tension crackling, leaving Mia wondering if she would ever break through this chaos, or if she was destined to drown in it. Mia's heart pounded as she stood frozen, the whispers swirling around her, threatening. To close in, she wanted to explain, to shout that she didn't mean to hurt Lexi, that the kick had been a reaction, a moment of strength. But each attempt to speak felt stuck in her throat like a bitter stone. Lexi gripped her ankle tighter, her face twisted in pain, and for a moment Mia's anger flared. This wasn't fair. But the crowd was hungry for drama, and they feasted on confusion. "Did you see her kick?" one boy blurted out, eyes lit with accusation. "It was on purpose." "It wasn't," Mia shot back, desperation clawing at her. She tried to move forward, but the throng parted with apprehension, as if she were contagious. They were not just scared. They were scared of her. Then it happened. A loud crash echoed from above, a sound so violent it silenced every voice. Everyone turned, eyes wide, mouths forming O's of shock. The chandelier, glittering like stars, had broken free from its mount, swinging wildly above the dance floor. Time seemed to stand still. In one heartbeat, Mia's world flipped. The glass shattering, as if a bomb had gone off, sent people scrambling. She barely had time to react when the crystals splintered and rained down like shards of ice over the center of the crowd. "Get down!" she yelled, throwing her arms over her head as panic gripped everyone around her. The chaos erupted. Bodies collided, turning a once festive dance into a scene of horror. Screams sliced through the air. Some fell to the ground, shielding their heads, while others ran for safety. Lexi's face was pale, tears mixing with the sweat trickling down her cheeks. Mia barely noticed as she knelt beside her, instinct kicking in, heart racing. But it wasn't about revenge or the past anymore. It was about survival. "Lexi, can you move? We have to!" "Mia, what's happening?" Jamie, her marginal ally, shouted, panic in his eyes. His voice rung raw, filled with urgency. Even through the chaos, he was still on his knees beside Lexi, trying to support her. "I don't know," Mia stammered, her own fear clawing at her insides. But as she looked up, her gaze caught something else far ahead. Something dark, moving swiftly through the crowd. Her chest tightened, breath hitching. A figure, cloaked in shadows, dashed past the panicking students. An unfamiliar face, masked and menacing. The figure was moving towards the exit, but not before they paused, glancing back at the wreckage they'd left behind. That's when it hit her. A realization that sent cold chills down her spine. This wasn't just an accident. It was too coincidental, too perfect of a distraction. Someone had set this up, and they were using Lexi, using her pain, her humiliation, to further tear the fabric of this fragile place apart. "Did you see that?" Mia gasped, heart racing. "They caused this." But the words barely left her lips, drowned by the unfolding horror around her. The crowd was too absorbed in fear and chaos to even hear her. What was happening? Who was that? A feeling of dread washed over her, and in that moment, she realized everything had turned upside down. The true enemy wasn't just the bullies or the shadows of her own past. There were deeper secrets lurking, betrayals and plots that could rip the entire school apart. And what had started as Mia's fight for acceptance had twisted into something much darker. As the screams faded and sirens wailed in the distance, she knew this was just the beginning. Tension hung in the air, thick and heavy. making it hard to breathe. The question looped in her mind like a drumbeat. Who could she trust now? The moment hung, dangling a question that felt unbearable. What other secrets were hiding just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to strike? Mia's heart raced, caught in a storm of confusion and fear. The glittering chaos of the shattered chandelier rained down like a scene from a nightmare. She crouched beside Lexi, her brow furrowing with worry, trying to process everything happening around her. Did that ominous figure really cause this? But she couldn't dwell on that now. The scream still echoed in her ears. Chaos erupted. Students frantically ducked and dashed for safety. Lexi's face was pale, the pain evident, but there was something else in her eyes. Mia caught the flicker of vulnerability, a flicker that hinted this moment was bigger than both of them. The crowd surged, every face filled with shock and terror. But at that moment, everyone was more concerned for themselves than for Lexi. And then a creeping dread began to unfurl in Mia's mind. In the madness, she turned back to Jamie, who gripped Lexi's hand. His face an image of worry, mixed with something darker. The way they looked at each other was different now. The bond Mia thought was born from trial appeared deeper than she had realized. What kind of history wove through them, and why was she only just beginning to see it? "No!" Mia cried out as she glimpsed the unknown figure again, blending into the chaos, slipping through bodies like a shadow. There was an urgency in Mia's chest now, but she felt a pull toward the crowd instead of away. In their panic, they seemed to forget why they were afraid in the first place. The deeper truth was lurking beneath their fear. She couldn't shake it. "Lexi, stay with me," Jamie urged breathlessly, trying to keep her conscious. But Mia noticed how he squeezed Lexi's hand, and there it was, an ember of something complicated, crackling in the air. Jealousy ignited in Mia, swift and hot. Had all the years of torment somehow melted into quiet connection during that brief, helpless moment? An odd pang of betrayal cut through her heart. But before she could analyze it, the atmosphere shifted again. An explosion shook the room, a dull thud, followed by piercing shrieks. A loud crash echoed strangely, and the doors burst open like a scene out of a horror film. Everyone froze as a group of masked figures charged into the gym, their faces hidden, their intentions obscured. Adrenaline surged through Mia's veins, heightening every nerve endings. "Get down!" one shouted, waving a baton ominously. Panic toppled over fear, spilling into utter chaos as people screamed, pushing each other in a frantic scramble to escape. Mia's heart dropped. This was no longer just an accident. This was an attack. What they had become ensnared in was bigger than their school troubles, bigger than bullies and broken friendships. "Run! We need to get out!" she yelled, the words clawing at her throat as she stumbled back. She darted through the crowd, adrenaline propelling her forward, but she couldn't shake the realization. This was the grim transformation of her reality, where everything she thought she knew shattered like the glass above. Lexi's face suddenly transformed, a twisted expression of realization. "They won't let us go," she murmured, eyes wide and panicked. Behind her, Jamie didn't move, frozen in place, eyes on the masked figures instead of Lexi. A flash of betrayal flickered through Mia. What was happening? Had Jamie been a part of this? Or had everything she believed about anyone in this crowd been a lie? The disarray clawed at her sanity, each heartbeat punctuated by terror. She turned in time to see the leader of the intruders point straight at her. "Grab her!" they yelled, voice rising above the chaos. Mia's blood ran cold. A shiver of fear mixed with defiance shot through her. And she didn't even know who she was running from anymore. The moment stretched, her very identity now under siege. She was no longer just fighting for acceptance. Now she was fighting for her life. All the lines between friend, enemy, and something more blurred. Yet a solitary truth loomed, dark and brooding. Everything about the fabric of her world had just unraveled. And Mia was standing at the center of it all, uncertainty pulling at her, demanding she decide whom to trust and who to escape before it was too late. Mia's heart raced as panic ensued. The masked figures loomed like phantoms, their intentions clear, yet shrouded in chaos. "Run! We need to get out!" she shouted again, forcing her way through the crowd. Adrenaline surging in her veins. She glanced back at Lexi and Jamie, a knot tightening in her stomach as he gripped Lexi's hand tighter, his gaze fierce and protective. But what was this growing bond, twisting painfully in? Her chest. This isn't the time, she thought, shaking off the feeling. All around her, students stumbled, some crying, some yelling, drowning in a sea of fear. "Get down!" someone yelled again, and Mia ducked instinctively as another figure advanced, this time with something glimmering in hand. A weapon? Her heart sank, and horror crashed over her. This was not just a prank, but something far more sinister. As she turned away, desperately searching for an exit, she felt the air shift. A loud bang, an explosion of sound, and then the lights flickered, dimming abruptly. In that moment, the unpredictable nature of reality presented itself. Just as the flickering stopped, a girl from the crowd suddenly lunged forward, eyes wild with desperation. Mia! It was Maddie, her old friend from middle school. But now her expression was twisted in anger and fear. "You have to come with me!" "What? We can't!" Mia shot back, confusion swirling in her mind. Why was Maddie here? She thought they'd drifted apart, that they'd lost touch. "Just trust me," Maddie insisted, grabbing Mia's arm, pulling her away. From behind, the masked figures were closing in, their eyes glinting beneath their hoods. "Why are you doing this?" Mia shouted, her voice trembling. But before Maddie could reply, a commotion broke out. The masked figures hurled something into the crowd. Suddenly, bright lights exploded in a dazzling spectrum, accompanied by the blare of loud music. That felt almost unforgiving. Mia's ears rang. Disorientation washed over her. But as the colours swirled, she caught sight of Jamie stumbling back, eyes now wide and horrified. "What are you doing, Maddie?" he shouted. "We were friends!" "Friends?" Mia gasped, unravelling a thread of realisation. Could it be? Had Maddie orchestrated this chaos? But before she could process it, Jamie's voice cut through the madness. "Maddie, you were the one who said the prank wouldn't go that far," he thundered, disbelief etching deeper into his features. The realization hit her like icy water splashing against her skin. "Wait, what do you mean?" Mia stepped back, sense of betrayal flooding in. The words hung around them, each syllable thick with tension. Maddie's eyes glimmered with something unrecognizable. This was never just about you. It was about taking back what they did to us, the way they always made fun of us. You have no idea what it feels like to be the outsider, the butt of a joke. The weight of betrayal crashed down, sending Mia's heart plummeting. "You mean this was all a setup?" Tension spiked. The whirring lights intensified. distracting the crowd, until she couldn't tell who was friend or foe. Jamie was no longer just a boy caught in the crossfire. He was wrapped in Maddie's twisted plot. The depths of their friendship revealed shattered connections that left Mia gasping for air. "No, you can't do this," she cried, desperate. "Why not? Is it wrong to hold the powerful accountable?" Maddie's voice rose, laced with fury. A shocking intensity radiated from the clash of feelings. "No, this isn't justice. It's madness," Mia rebutted, a mix of fear and anger flooding her veins. But before anything else could be said, another loud bang erupted, louder than before. The ground shook beneath them, and the masked figures lunged forward. Mia turned instinctively, heart racing, but time slowed down. Shadows twirling in the chaos cast doubt over her reality, and in that instant, she realized the truth. This wasn't just her fight. This was a war she never wanted to be part of, with alliances straining under the weight of betrayal. She caught Jamie's gaze again, searching for answers in the confusion. Silence enveloped them, but one question screamed in her mind. Who were they really fighting? And as the echoes of chaos swirled around her, a chilling thought crept in. Could anyone truly be trusted? Mia's heart raced as panic engulfed the gym. Every second stretched out, filled with confusion and fear. The masked figures moved like shadows, their intentions clear now. She couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal simmering between her and Maddie, each of them trapped in their version of the truth. The air felt thick with uncertainty, but an urgent instinct kicked in. "Trust me?" she echoed, incredulous. "Trust you after all this?" But just then, Jamie tensed beside Lexi, his grip tightening. "Maddie, what have you done?" His voice trembled, laced with disbelief and hurt. The connection between him and Lexi was undeniable, but now anger brewed on top of it. "Stop acting like I'm the villain here," Maddie shot back, eyes blazing. "You're just too scared to see how the world really is. They've always bullied us. It's time we fight back." The words hung heavy in the air, a line drawn that nobody could cross. Mia clenched her fists, trying to push back the rising tide of frustration and betrayal that threatened to drown her. But the moment shattered. A burst of bright flames erupted from a side door, explosive and wild. Heat washed over Mia, and she screamed as the fire surged, flames flickering dangerously close. It flickered wildly, revealing monstrous shadows against the walls. In an instant, the gym transformed from a chaotic battleground into a nightmarish inferno. "Run!" Mia yelled, panic coursing through her. The crowd recoiled, all thoughts of previous alliances forgotten, fleeing for the exits in waves of sheer terror. Bodies collided, screams pierced through the air, and the confusion escalated into chaos. "Lexi, we have to go," Jamie shouted, pulling her up. The urgency in his voice pushed through Mia's haze, but the fire loomed, creeping closer, casting a hellish glow. But in a sudden twist, someone pushed through the throng. A figure emerged, stumbling toward them with an air of desperation. Mia squinted, recognition flooding her senses. It was Mr. Thompson, their history teacher. "Mia! Jamie! Get out! Now!" he shouted, his eyes frantic. "This was no accident! We can't stay here!" "What do you mean?" Mia cried, breathless. Fear twisted her stomach tighter. But before he could answer, a masked figure darted toward Mr. Thompson, thrusting something shiny at him. It ignited a collective gasp. "Stay away from him!" Jamie yelled, but the shout was lost amidst the chaos as the figure lunged forward, weapon raised. Mia's world blurred. In a split second, Mr. Thompson's eyes widened. A moment of realization hanging in the air before the chaos swallowed it whole. A flash of movement, then a heavy thud echoed through the gym. A knife fell from the assailant's hand, and Mr. Thompson crumpled to the ground, lifeless. Shock gripped Mia like ice. "No! No!" she screamed. The world spun. Disbelief hammered at her senses. The crowd froze, a tide of uncertainty washing over them. Everyone quieted, eyes wide, faces pale. There it was, the betrayal. In that moment, nothing felt real. The fires crackled ominously, but the vision of Mr. Thompson laying there shifted something deep inside Mia. The blurred lines of friendship, enemies, and hidden intentions spun in her mind, merging and shifting like a twisted puzzle. "Why?" Maddie breathed, her fierce facade crumbling. "Because it was always leading to this," the masked figure sneered, backing away. "You thought this was about you? It's much bigger than that." And just like that, the narrative shattered. It wasn't about the bullies any longer, nor about revenge. This was a web of secrets, lies twisting around each of them, spun by hands they couldn't see. Mia felt the ground beneath her shift, the weight of the revelation pressing down. Everyone she thought she knew was suddenly cloaked in shadows, and trust slipped away like smoke through her fingers. "Who are we even fighting?" she whispered to herself. The question hung in the thick, heavy air of confusion. The answer lost amidst a sea of deception and despair. What other truths were hidden in the flames? Mia felt like everything had shifted. Mr. Thompson lay there, lifeless, and in that moment, everything she thought was true crumbled. The gym dimmed with fear, and the masked figures lurked closer, shadows of confusion and chaos. "Get out!" someone shrieked, panic igniting around them. It was as if the crowd forgot everything else. The hurt, the pain, the betrayals, only to focus on survival. Overwhelmed, Mia's breath quickened, each inhalation feeling like a painful reminder of the chaos. "Why, Maddie? Why would you do this?" she whispered through clenched teeth, anger twisting in her gut. But Maddie, eyes wide and shimmering, didn't blink. "I wanted us to stand up for ourselves, to show them we aren't afraid anymore. No," Jamie's voice cut through the air, raw with emotion. "You've gone too far." In the confusion, tension suffocated them. Then, suddenly, an explosion rocked the gym again. A deafening sound that shattered the air. The floors trembled, the lights flickered violently, and in an instant, everything changed. Mia's heart thundered in her chest as a dart of flame licked the walls. "Get back!" she screamed, scrambling away from the growing fire. Maddie grabbed her arm, dragging her toward the exit. But they weren't the only ones moving. The masked figures shifted, their shapes blurring in the chaos, positioning themselves strategically. Mia's instinct screamed to escape, but all she could do was pull her arm free. Desperation pumping through her veins. "Help!" someone cried from the rear. It echoed, laced with terror and doubt, and it sent a fresh wave of chills through Mia's body. Lexi's scream punctured the air, and it brought everything to a halt for just a moment. "Mia!" Lexi gasped through the crowd, her ankle clearly injured, barely making her way toward them, Jamie trying to support her. "You have to stop this. We can't let it end like this." But then, the silence shattered again with the sound of a gunshot. Time froze. Everyone turned, wide-eyed and breathless. The air crackled with electricity. Mia's stomach twisted into knots, the sound ringing painfully in her ears. The figure in the mask dropped something. A small device that skidded across the floor, beeping ominously. "Get back!" Maddie screamed, grabbing Mia's waist, eyes wild with fear. And then it exploded. Bright blue light erupted from the device, enveloping the room in an eerie glow. Mia felt the ground shake, and the crowd fell silent as if time had paused. People around her blinked, gaping in disbelief. Mia staggered back, heart racing. As the light dimmed, she caught her breath. The aftermath was surreal, faces morphing from shock to something else. The blue light flickered like an illusion, and when it faded, something shocking emerged from the chaos. A figure stood at the center of it all, stepping out of the haze. A familiar face, transforming. The night into a different plane. It was Mr. Thompson. Not lifeless, but changed. His eyes glowed, electric and bright. A smile stretching across his face that felt unsettling in its familiarity. "What?" Mia whispered, confusion twisting in her gut. How? She'd seen him fall. Whispers rolled through the crowd, ripples of disbelief. "I can't," Jamie started, brow furrowing. The connection between him and Lexi faded as he watched Mr. Thompson, stunned. "Maddie, what do you do?" Mia gasped, the weight of realization crashing down. This wasn't just chaos. It was part of something more, something dark. "But Maddie stammered, caught between anger and panic. But her voice faltered as this new truth came forth. I returned. Mr. Thompson's voice boomed, certainty layering each word. "I returned to protect you. You have no idea what is at stake." "What do you mean?" Lexi croaked, her eyelids fluttering in pain. "You're alive. You were..." echoed, almost malevolent, twisting the frail bond they had once known. "I was never lost. I've been watching. This was always part of it." Mia's chest tightened. Every thought crumbled. What did he mean? Above the flames and fear, he stood as a looming enigma. She felt the ground shifting beneath her again as the reality sunk deeper. Alliances forged in mutual hurt were now crumbling. What twisted turn had this taken? And suddenly, Mia understood the stakes were higher than she ever imagined. All of it, the fights, the battles against bullies, the friendships and betrayal. It was part of a larger game woven by invisible hands. Fear gripped her once more, leaving her breathless. They were caught in something bigger, a web of deceit that pulled at the very fabric of their reality. As the crowd surged forward, hearts pounding, Mia whispered to herself, "What is happening?" A chasm of uncertainty loomed ahead. And she felt it, consuming everything once more. Mia felt like everything had shifted. Mr. Thompson lay there, lifeless. And in that moment, everything she thought was true crumbled. The gym dimmed with fear, and the masked figures lurked closer, shadows of confusion and chaos. "Get out!" someone shrieked, panic igniting around them. It was as if the crowd forgot everything else, the hurt, the pain, the betrayals, only to focus on survival. Overwhelmed, Mia's breath quickened, each inhalation feeling like a painful reminder of the chaos. "Why, Maddie? Why would you do this?" she whispered through clenched teeth, anger twisting in her gut. But Maddie, eyes wide and shimmering, didn't blink. "I wanted us to stand up for ourselves, to show them we aren't afraid anymore." "No," Jamie's voice cut through the air, raw with emotion. "You've gone too far." In the confusion, tension suffocated them. Then suddenly, An explosion rocked the gym again, a deafening sound that shattered the air. The floors trembled, the lights flickered violently, and, in an instant, everything changed. Mia's heart thundered in her chest as a dart of flame licked the walls. "Get back!" she screamed, scrambling away from the growing fire. Maddie grabbed her arm, dragging her toward the exit. But they weren't the only ones moving. The masked figures shifted, their shapes blurring in the chaos, positioning themselves strategically. Mia's instincts screamed to escape, but all she could do was pull her arm free, desperation pumping through her veins. "Help!" someone cried from the rear. It echoed, laced with terror and doubt, and it sent a fresh wave of chills through Mia's body. Lexi's scream punctured the air, and it brought everything to a halt for just a moment. "Mia!" Lexi gasped through the crowd, her ankle clearly injured, barely making her way toward them, Jamie trying to support her. "You have to stop this. We can't let it end like this." But then, the silence shattered again with the sound of a gunshot. Time froze. Everyone turned, wide-eyed and breathless. The air crackled with electricity. Mia's stomach twisted into knots, the sound ringing painfully in her ears. The figure in the mask dropped something, a small device that skidded across the floor, beeping ominously. "Stay away from him!" Jamie yelled. But the shout was lost amidst the chaos as the figure lunged forward, thrusting something shiny at him. Mia's world blurred. In a split second, Mr. Thompson's eyes widened. A moment of realization hanging in the air before the chaos swallowed it whole. A flash of movement, then a heavy thud echoed through the gym. A knife fell from the assailant's hand, and Mr. Thompson crumpled to the ground, lifeless. Shock gripped Mia like ice. "No! No!" she screamed. The world spun. Disbelief hammered at her senses. The crowd froze, a tide of uncertainty washing over them. Everyone quieted, eyes wide, faces pale. There it was, the betrayal. But then, inexplicably, Mr. Thompson. Thompson blinked. The rise and fall of his chest began again, slow at first, and then with dangerous strength. The colour returned to his cheeks. The crowd gasped, a collective disbelief morphing into the surreal. "Get back!" the masked figure shouted now, confusion etched into their features. They stumbled backward, losing their grip on whatever plan they had. "Mia!" Mr. Thompson rasped, his voice rasping as he rose to one knee. "They won't stop!" "Why are you alive?" Maddie shouted, the facade of courage dropping away to reveal fear now. "We saw you." "I'm not who you think I am," he interrupted, eyes hard and searching. "And neither is anyone else here." The room shifted again. An odd crackle surged in the air, a pulse that sent shivers down Mia's spine. She felt it, an undercurrent of something hidden, a truth long buried, rising to the surface. Then the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the gym, the silence deafening, thick. In that moment, a voice boomed, clear and commanding, echoing through the void. "You've all been pawns in a game you never understood." The shadows cast by the absence of light twisted into forms that felt ancient and powerful. Gasps filled the space as students clung to each other, shaking, confusion and fear radiating from every corner. "What game?" Mia managed to ask, her voice barely a whisper. But the deep voice answered anyway, unveiling the hidden. "Everything you've known was designed to prepare you. This night was the culmination of your training, for a battle that's just beginning." A flash lit the room, momentarily revealing everything. The masked figures, their faces blurring into something monstrous. The reality shifting like sand beneath her feet. And then Mia realized. All of them. The bullies, the friendships, even Mr. Thompson. Nothing was what it seemed. Trust no one. The only way out is through. The voice echoed, the weight heavy. And in that moment, everything cracked open. Mia stood amidst the chaos, the world swirling around her. Betrayal, anger, confusion. She felt the ground shift beneath her. The darkness, the game, now they were in it. And there was no way of knowing who had the upper hand. All she knew was that reality had just unraveled, revealing a terrifying truth buried under layers of lies. And she was right at the center of it. Mia stood in the heavy gloom, her breath caught in her throat. Mr. Thompson, the truth had twisted around him like a dark vine. The crowd held its collective breath, shadows dancing against the walls, every heart pounding in sync. "Get back!" the masked figure yelled, but the tension snapped. The uncertainty felt thick like fog, suffocating every idea and thought. Mia stepped closer, her heart hammering. "What do you want? What game?" she demanded, her voice rising above the chaos. "I told you, this is bigger than you could ever understand," a voice boomed, heavy with a mix of anger and power. "You were never supposed to uncover the truth." Maddie's eyes flickered, a battle waging behind them. But he was dead. We saw him die. Mr. Thompson straightened up, brushing away dirt and debris, his eyes flashing with an unnerving light. "Dead? You think it's so simple? In this world, nothing is as it seems." Chaos swirled around Mia, her mind unraveling. Why did Mr. Thompson look so alive? A chill ran through her. Instinctively, she glanced at Jamie. He remained tense, trapped between loyalty to Lexi and the siren call of Maddie's plan. "Don't listen to him," Mia cried. "He's manipulating us." Suddenly, another explosion rocked the gym, this time sending a shockwave through the air. Students stumbled, bodies colliding. For a moment, the world felt like it was collapsing around them. Screams slicing through the air as panic soared. Again, and then, in the chaos, Mia noticed an opening. A chance to escape. "We can't stay here," she yelled to Maddie. But before she could move, something flickered at the edge of her vision. A figure, cloaked in shadows, darted from the back. Her heart lurched as she recognized the face. It was Claire, her best friend who had vanished months ago. "Mia!" Claire shouted, rushing toward her. Panic etched across her features, hair wild and eyes wide. "You have to come with me. It's not safe here." "Claire!" Mia gasped. "Need to go. Now!" Before Mia could react, the masked figures shifted, their attention snapping to Claire. "Don't let her escape!" one shouted, lunging toward Claire. Everything felt like slow motion. Jamie started forward. Lexi struggled to rise, fear igniting the air. Suddenly the ground shook again. The ceiling above them cracked, a rumble echoing like thunder. A beam snapped loose, crashing down toward Claire. Without thinking, Mia sprinted forward. "Claire!" she screamed. But just as she reached out, something snapped, a connection she'd never seen coming. Time froze. Claire spun, her eyes locking onto Mia's. "You have to believe me!" And in that instant, everything shifted. A blinding light burst from Claire, illuminating the gym, revealing ghostly silhouettes. The masked figures screamed, the light cutting through their darkness like a blade. Mia shielded her eyes, heart racing. When the light faded, the world felt different. Claire stood there, her form shifting, the reality surrounding her bending. a shimmer of energy swirling like a storm. The truth fragmented, colours blending. "Claire," Mia whispered, fear pressing down like a weight. And without warning, Claire's voice rang out, echoing through the chaos. "I'm not just Claire. I'm part of something bigger. You were all chosen." The room shook again. She had become, looked at Mia with deep understanding. "Mia, it's time to choose. Join us or—" A shadow loomed over the gym, heavy and foreboding. Claire's true nature was unfolding, and Mia felt a chasm open inside her. Would she stand with her friend or against her? Mia's mind raced, every heartbeat echoing the question. What had she stepped into, and could she ever turn back? The shimmering light faded, swirling into shadows as Mia took a deep breath, her heart pounding. Claire. Electricity. Mia's mind raced. The stakes had never felt this high. Should she trust Claire, her old friend, or the twisted truth shrouded in mystery? "I want to believe you," she shouted, fear bubbling inside her, choking her words. There was a moment when silence seemed the loudest. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the spark to ignite. Mrs. Thompson glanced around, eyes calculating, aware of how fragile the atmosphere had become. "This isn't just a choice," she said, voice now commanding. "If you step forward, you step into something transformative." Maddie stepped back, shaking her head. "You're not the Claire I knew," she hissed, hurt washing over her voice. "You're part of this delusion." But Claire's eyes softened. "I had to do this to protect you all. This was always the plan. You have power. You just need to embrace it." Out of nowhere, another explosion erupted, sending fragments of wood and dust flying. Screams echoed. Panic flared anew. A fight, a protest against the chaos unfolding. The masked figures grew desperate, and the gym turned into a frantic battleground. "Run now!" Jamie shouted, pulling Lexi close. Fear etched across his features. "We can't let them win." Mia wasted no time. She dashed toward Claire, heart racing. "Let's go. We need to escape this nightmare." But Claire remained rooted to the floor. "You cannot run away. We must stand and fight. You need to take your place in this fight." Mia squeezed her eyes shut for a second, processing everything. She thought of the bullies, of all the pain they caused and the friendships that had twisted and evolved in unexpected ways. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about a larger battle, a war for something real. It pulsed like fire in her veins. "Okay, I'm in," she shouted, determination sparking within her. The crowd stirred, following Mia's lead. They were all feeling it now. The power of connection. The urgency to fight back. The masked figures faltered, surprise striking across their features. The crowd behind Mia surged forward, emboldened. Lexi, Jamie, and Maddie formed a line at Mia's side. With a heart full of resolve, Mia turned to face the masked figures. "You picked the wrong place to play your games," she yelled, voice strong and clear. "Together we're unstoppable." Light exploded in the gym, blooming like flowers, their collective energy igniting the darkness. The power swirled around them, blinding the masked figures as the students stood united. Fear transformed into a fierce determination. Mia looked at Claire, and what she saw reflected back was solidarity. Two friends not broken by chaos, but bound by it. Together, they stepped forward, ready to shatter the illusion and reclaim their power. And as the shadows receded, the momentum shifted towards the light. Each voice sang together, creating a harmony that enveloped the room. "We are Not your pawns, they shouted, fierce and unyielding. We are stronger than you'll ever know. The last remnants of darkness faded. The gym transformed before their eyes, walls collapsing to let in the sun. Outside lay a world bright with possibility. But just as hope blossomed, a chilling voice resonated from behind them, a shadow thick with threats. This isn't over, not by a long shot. And as Mia turned, a shiver crawled down her spine. Questions hung in the air, unanswered, doubts swirling. The end of one battle always led to another. But this time, she wasn't afraid. She was ready. Mia took a deep breath, heart pulsing with possibility. The fight still alive within her. The world, beyond, held secrets yet uncovered, and she was ready to face them head on. Listen up, everyone. If you loved this wild journey with Mia and her friends, you need to subscribe to the channel now, so you don't miss out on the exclusive stories coming your way. Smash that like button too. It helps the algorithm and shows your support. And don't just keep it to yourself. Flood the comments with your thoughts and theories about this ending. I want to hear every single reaction. And trust me, you should share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to know this incredible conclusion. This is the moment to show your love. Don't wait another second to support us.